Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Lasham Daily Briefing for Sunday, the 21st of September, 2025. Beginning with the synoptic picture, as normal, we can see yesterday the frontal activity there that brought a little bit of poorer weather and the occasional shower to us. We did manage some flying, but it was a fairly poor day all around. Overnight, that's sort of dissipated, shifted off, and we had this fairly well-established occlusion stemming from this low up towards the Nordics there. Overnight, that has passed through, leaving us with some quite pleasant clear air behind, fairly light winds, and a northerly flow. With that, some instability with the passage of that occluded front, so we should have a fairly nice day today. If we get enough heat on the ground, it should be pretty soarable. Looking forwards, going to continue with high pressure out to the west at the moment, working its way in, and that's going to lead to what we suspect will be a fairly pleasant week, certainly better than what we've seen in recent days. Looking at the sat pic for today, quite a bit of clouds to the west and south, but most of the south of the UK is clear of cloud, as is the case here at Lasham. Thin band over the sort of Midlands, and then clear in the north and up towards Lowland Scotland. Rain radar, a bit of rain associated with that cloud out in the channel on the south, and likewise to the north, but very little of concern in our area. And in terms of the rain prediction, looking at the Met Office here, just running that through. You'll see that rain stays mostly in the channel there. Going to be no problem for us whatsoever. Becoming a little bit showery later on in coastal areas. That will remain clear in our local area and to the north. Odium's observation this morning was light northwesterly 3205 knots. Visibly greater than 10 with no clouds detected, and a sort of average pressure of about 1015. Farnborough, the TAF there giving us 3504 knots, visibly greater than 10 kilometers with few at 4,500. Spot winds to the south of us, looking northeasterly, around 15 knots in the channel there, and to the north, very sort of northwesterly, about 10 knots. We can expect somewhere in between, pretty light, probably only around 10 knots at Fahrenheit. Surface wind, looking at windy here, showing a fairly moderate northeasterly flow across the effort, and with that little bit of an easterly component there, we will be operating runway 09 today. The local Met Office forecast showing us fairly moderate temperature all day, with around 8 knots, with gusts up to maybe 15 or 17 knots later in the day from the northeast. So just bearing that in mind with potential curl over from the trees on the north side. Visibility should remain pretty good with a reducing level of humidity and fairly low UV as can be expected this time of year. GFS agreeing with the Met Office there, temperature-wise around 13 or 14 degrees locally in the warmest part of the day, with a dew point of 4. The webcam on the south side looking west. You can see on the windsock left-hand side of the picture, northeasterly flow there, and no cloud at all in the local area, with a little bit of thin cloud out to the west on the horizon there. Temperature-wise, went out to just 8.7 degrees with a dew point of 6.3, so expect that to rise in the coming hours. And now on to sky sight, looking on the left-hand side of the screen here at the potential flight distance. I'll just zoom that out. Considering what we've had recently, that is looking very nice indeed. And again, we talked about that occluded from having passed through, leaving behind some fairly unstable air. We've got some lighter winds as well, which is happening. So we should have a reasonable soaring day. Lots of question marks on the chart to the north, but certainly locally, and probably slightly further afield, we can expect some pleasant soaring. On the right-hand side is the point forecast. So looking at thermals up to 3,500 to 4,000 feet above Lasham, with climates ranging from 3 to just under 4 knots in the best part of the day, and wind at height northeasterly about 12 knots, which is more or less in agreement with the Met Office chart. Cloud distribution here on top Meteo. Starting at 9 o'clock local, you can see blue in the south with a little bit of altocumulus, of thin altocumulus out to the west, which you could see on the webcam. We just start running that through hour by hour. By about 11 o'clock local, we have some cumulus to the south. And there's that sort of band of fairly localized cumulus around Lasham and just slightly to the south of us and along the coast. And that will continue for much of the day, a little bit into the north towards Oxford and East Anglia as well, dissipating very much by sort of 4 or 5 o'clock this evening, and Cirrus starting to work its way in from the south coast. NOTAM-wise, not a great deal to discuss. To the south of Lasham itself, down at Leon Surland at 7 and 8 in this part of the chart here, there are parachute exercises. There's NOTAMs from surface to 3,200 feet, from 1230 to 1800 Zulu. And within that same area, it's from surface to 5,600 between 1430 and 1530 Zulu. To the northwest of us, 27 is West Ilsley, there are a bunch of launching paragliders to 1,900 feet. And just to the northeast of that, at 29, there's a BBMF flypast of Prince's Risborough, and that's from 11:30 until 12 o'clock Zulu. And if anyone happens to be up towards Nimsfield or Gloucester Way at 31, you've got parachuting at Little Risington, and that's from surface to 19,000 feet, and that's later this afternoon and into the evening. Moving on now. Two glider bookings. We have one K21 today on boot instruction and another for the casualist. We also have a K13 for trial lessons and plenty of single-seater availability. At the moment, there's one on the casualist with one instructor, so we have plenty of capacity there. And the simulator is available as normal. We have nothing to report at this time with regards to movements. And in summary, we have low pressure centered in the channel. Should be sort of pleasantly soluble today with some cumulus in the south. And we're expecting a north-northeasterly flow across the airfield. Therefore, we'll be operating runway 09. The cables will be on the grass south. And a reminder again, instructors, please do not brief at the front of the queue if a queue does exist. As always, do not land or taxi across the disused runways shown in red. And there's our airfield set up to finish with the winch on the south of the main runway, winching from the grass, air towing from the hard, and ignore the windsock there. And that is all from me this morning. So we'll see you out there very shortly. Have a nice day and keep it safe. Thank you very much.